Oh my word. So, update. I have gone 10 days without being sick, which is like unheard of. I mean, some of you might have, seen my Facebook posts and stuff, and I've talked about it before where I couldn't even go 24 hours. So to go 10 days without being sick is just incredible. So I just want to talk a little bit about therapy and, well, not really therapy, but just more like, oh, how do I word it? So I've just woken up from a massive nap. Just about like going after life and not letting the shit that normally holds us back hold us back. Which, I mean, when you're struggling with mental health, or even whatever it is, it doesn't even have to be mental health. I know I bang on about it all the time. I mean, that is the point of these. However, I do want to sort of, reach out to everybody. It weighs us down, whatever the problem is. And so basically, I just want to share a little bit about, what's actually been helping me and like motivating me. So I started group therapy, I mean, literally like 4 weeks ago or something. And for those of you who struggle with your body image, which is probably majority of us Brits are quite famous for not really liking ourselves. So I just want to share a couple of things that I've been taught, like, as I've gone along, and what's been changing, like radically changing how I feel about myself. So number one is to do with weight. So over the 4 weeks, what they do is they weigh us. So normally, I mean, probably quite a lot of us weigh ourselves every day, which is apparently completely the wrong thing to do, because your weight can actually fluctuate between 1 to 1.5/2, depending on who you are and stuff, kilograms per day, which I never knew. I was like, what? So I would be weighing myself one day and being like, yeah, I've lost 2 kilograms, and then the next day it would go up again and I'll be like, why haven't I lost any weight? I haven't really eaten, I've been being sick, blah, 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 blah. And that would then just trigger the same cycle over and over again. So what they do is we weigh ourselves just once a week and look at it over 4 weeks. And you look at other factors that you've been doing. So, for example, I don't really want to share this, but I'm going to, because I'm trying to be helpful. So my weight has actually, from when I started, it's gone up by just about 2 kilograms, I think. And that really freaked me out to start off with. I was like, why has it gone up? What the hell, I haven't been binging that much. So all the calories that I would be having, even though I was being sick, you can only really get rid of about 50% of the calories if you're sick. Laxatives only work on the lower intestine. So you're only getting rid of what you would have already gotten rid of, but faster. So everything's been absorbed already. Although I didn't actually use laxatives, but and exercise, there's not actually that much to say that it helps massively with weight loss. I mean, it helps to shape you, but it's like, you might have heard that thing, it's like 80% in the kitchen, 20% exercise kind of thing. But yeah, but when I actually started to look at the different factors of why my weight has gone up by 2 kilograms, I've been weight training, I've been eating more regularly, so I've been bloated now because my stomach is not used to digesting every 3 to 4 hours. That means that I have more food in my system. There's so many different factors. Women, time of the month. Guys, you might be weight training or just water retention. There are so many reasons. And actually, what I've been taught is that a weight change by a few kilograms, literally over 4 weeks, is nothing. So they get us to draw out a graph. Oh, it's downstairs, damn it, I was going to show you. But basically, so on like a graph paper, each tiny little square represents 1 kilogram, and each, so sort of going on the up axis, on the x-axis, let's get back to maths, and on the y-axis is the number of weeks, so sort of 5 could represent, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. yeah, and literally the graph is tiny and the change is minuscule when you look at it on that scale. Because I was like, wait, don't we need to do it on a bigger scale because this is tiny? But they were like, no, but you need to see that literally the tiniest amount of fluctuation in weight means nothing in the grand scheme of things. You probably don't even notice it on, no one else would notice it on your body. You only notice it because you have a warped perception of how you look. And it's actually, I sat there and I was like, so over 10 days, I've eaten pretty much normally. I've binged a couple of times. They haven't been massive. I had, I've been bloated, etc. I've been weight training. So actually, to gain 2 kilograms, what is that? It's really not even anything to do with like fat on my body, etc. It's my physiology. Your physiology changes and fluctuates. And actually, the overall trend that a lot of people find is that their weight, maintains quite well. Or, if you're stopping to binge and overeat, and perhaps you were a little bit overweight, you'll find that it will drop. And actually, binge eating and being sick makes you gain weight over time. I've spoken to people who have had it for like years and years and years, and all that's happened is their life has just gone to this eating disorder, and actually they probably end up being the biggest that they've ever been. You don't end up where you think you're going to get to, or even, over exercising and not eating enough, etc. Your physiology will take over. And, so I mean, God, I used to exercise for 2 hours every day. I'd get up at 6, go to the gym, I'd exercise for 2 hours, I'd try and eat like hardly anything. And actually, I mean, I toned up a bit and stuff, but I couldn't maintain it because it was just this ridiculous cycle and it was punishing to my body and it was actually bad for it. And it would mean that my body was holding on to everything that I was putting into it because it was starving, literally, because I was exercising so much. And actually you find that if you exercise more, then your body needs more calories, so you end up eating more anyway. So you might as well find, like a daily activity or a few times a week exercise for not hours or anything, like half an hour a day, and that it all evens out. And yeah, so my point is that for those of us who are stressing about our weight, especially small weight fluctuations, etc., that's not what we need to be focusing on. And certainly going on restrictive diets, over exercising, feeling like we need to be punishing and cut things out, etc., is not the case. I've actually found that rather than binging, if I've sort of been like, okay, I'll have 2 cookies and some ice cream rather than 8 and an entire pot of ice cream, and actually when I've had it and then I've waited, I'm then kind of like, do you know what, actually it doesn't make me feel as good as maybe having some fruit would or something. And you actually, because we tend to think, oh, if I eat this chocolate bar or this packet of crisps, I'm going to go overboard and, oh, I'm going to get so fat from eating it. But literally, the weight change is nothing. And you do learn over a few days, literally a few days, that actually, maybe I want some fruit instead or something. It doesn't make me feel as good. And the importance of getting out and just doing some exercise. Not all of us, God, I'm generalising so bad. We tend to see it as punishment. It's something that we need to literally be like dripping in sweat and basically like dying on the floor by the end of it. No, you don't have to do that. You are not stuck in that. So yeah, that's really been helping me. And also, I think just taking back the choice. You have a choice about everything in life. I really struggle with my thoughts and my emotions because of the disorder, and I do understand that it is not a choice for everybody. Schizophrenics, bipolar, etc. It's so difficult, and I don't really want to touch in on that because I really know nothing, absolutely nothing about disorders like that. But what I have learned is that, quite a lot of us may have gone through being stepped on a lot, being told we're wrong, being told our opinion doesn't matter, being made to feel like anything about us is insignificant. And then we basically just try and adopt what I have. So I used to try and adopt other people's personalities. I would never trust myself and my own thoughts, because I had majority of the time been, you know, told they were wrong or been made fun of or whatever it is from childhood, and then how I've developed. And actually, you know, when I think about it, who's right according to who? You know, why is one person better than the other? Why is one person's looks more beautiful than somebody else? If you actually look really closely at people, everyone has something about them that is just so like captivating and beautiful, and we really need to harness that, you know. Oh, what was it? God, I get mind blanks so much, it's really annoying. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so about taking ownership of I am now trying to take ownership of who I am and what I think, and just going off of what I decide, and not listening to the little voices that come in at the back of my head, like, oh, well, what about this, what about that? You know you know what's up, you really do, and it's just about trying to tap in to your self-conscious, and what you think, you know, what is your gut feel? Because I sort of learned in therapy this week that my thoughts and my feelings are actually in conflict against each other. So I'm in constant like inner turmoil and in a constant argument with myself, whereas thoughts and feelings should aid each other, you know. So, you know, I would go off of a feeling and then my thoughts would attack it, or I'd go off a thought and my feelings would attack it, and they should be in harmony with each other and working together. And so it's about seeking to get that back, you know. So rather than, oh, how do I explain this? Rather than sort of listening to just our thoughts and just our feelings, learning to find that sort of middle ground of what we actually think ourselves, like what is in line with what we think and also how we feel. So not just listening to one extreme or the other, which I definitely think is a lifelong thing, you know, to figure out and stuff. But it's worth it, you know. If you're not connected to you, like, it's a lot harder to connect to other people and to connect to life and stuff. I am such a strong believer that, like, having such a strong relationship with yourself is the most important thing you can ever do. You need to be connected to yourself. So yeah, I mean, so a little tip that I'm trying this week is to sort of just listen to what I think. Screw what other people think, you know? Like, no, I'm going to go off of what I think and what I feel about things. I'm going to be honest about how I feel about things, how I think about things. But yeah, so anyway, that was just kind of a couple of things I learned from therapy this week that are actually really helping me. And also to just do things in your own time when you're ready. You know, people can be against you, telling you that's wrong, this is wrong, but no, you do things how you think you should be doing them. And you know, if something goes wrong, oh well, you know, you learn in your own time. But yeah, so anyway, that might not have been helpful at all. But thanks for watching, and thanks for everyone's support as well. Like with all the eating stuff and everything, honestly, like, it means such a lot. And this is what I love about people, you know, when we just work together and support each other, everything, it just makes it that little bit easier. So yeah, have a good evening.